Well, welcome to SoCal Sports Report's weekly podcast. I am John Stellman, along with Vince Morales, and now I know what the Dodgers go through every other day. We've got John Adams
10
back
day.
off.
I'm on the 10-day.
The 10-day.
Lucky you got me today, too. I almost didn't make it.
So we should have a full-on show. We almost couldn't fill out an hour last week, John, without you. We had to make up for that extra.
We had to use 10 of our minutes to talk about you in order to get to the quota. So
All right.
I think we filled it out.
Appreciate that.
What we'll do, like we do every week, is go over our list of topics here so everybody has an idea of where we're going. Rams, of course, will dominate. They're have an incredible season. A lot to talk about there. Also might talk about the MVP award and the Tom Brady versus Todd Gurley, which I don't even think is a contest, but we got to fight with the East Coast media bias there. Chargers, 8-3 after their 0-4 start. Can still make the playoffs, but it would take a lot of dominoes to fall. Cactus Bowl. I wonder if does Chip Kelly have a opt-out clause in his contract after that tremendous defensive performance in the second half last night? We'll talk about UCLA basketball. They upset number 10 Kentucky, a big win on the road. Trojans win the Diamond Head Classic in Hawaii, beating a couple of tough teams. We will talk a little bit too about Darnold again and Josh Rosen, who didn't get to play in his finale last night. They're probably going to head on out. Kings and Ducks, same old story. Kings doing a great job, and the Ducks, plugging along. Lakers inconsistent. Clippers struggling. Not much going on in the Hot Stove League right now. Usually it will pick up, I would think, after the holidays. That's when the free agents should start to fall. So we got a lot to talk about tonight. We'll talk about the Rams first. If they win Sunday, it's going to be, going from 4-12 to 12-4, and this is an incredible turnaround. I think only Indy in 1999 went from 3-13 to 13-3. So
was that a Peyton Manning squad?
Yeah, probably. Yeah. But that's incredible what they've done. I've got some things to say about Jeff Fisher after we give Vinny and John a chance.
I do too.
He was in a luxury suite banging his chest and claiming responsibility for laying the groundwork for a lot of these players that are on this team. All I can say about that is you might have gotten them in, but you didn't do anything when you got them there. So let's let Vinny rant here a little bit about that.
Well, you know how I feel about Jeff Fisher. I think he bumbled and stumbled his way through. He had plenty of time and plenty of opportunities to do what he claims he did with that Rams team, and he just couldn't. And that 4-12 season was a disaster. And for him to come out and sort of defend his decision not to play golf early. Look, we sort of got it. We understood it. But the way that it was told in the media was that, he was the one dragging his feet. It was not management. Management wanted Goff in there. And even though the offensive line was not as good as it is this year, they still wanted him in there getting the reps and taking a few of his lumps and learning. And Jeff Fisher just has clearly proved that he's not an offensive genius, that he's more of a defensive guy. Right. That's what got him to, the Super Bowl and into the playoffs way back when?
Yeah.
I mean, a long time ago.
In the 17th century.
I mean, you look at Jeff Fisher, he's not an old guy.
Right.
But he hasn't been sniffing around the playoffs in a decade. Right. And so, again, I get why he's doing it. He wants to make himself relevant. He laid low for a little while. He's come back out. He's definitely looking for another job. There's just no reason. And I don't think he cares enough about a legacy if he's going to be in full retirement. Right now, he's in image repair mode. And the only way that he can get another job is if he spins it to where, that was a 4-12 team. I did the best I could, and I protected that Jared Goff and put the building blocks in place. Anybody who saw and watched that team play last year and sees that team play this year knows that there's no way a Jeff Fisher coach team plays as well, even with all of this talent, plays this well as they have this year. So Jeff Fisher, good luck finding a job.
Plus,
buddy.
the front office isn't going to trade 175 players to get that number one draft pick, and then want to see him sitting on his butt on the bench. That's not the reason why you make that deal, get in that position.
Well, I mean, as you said, Vince, he's a defensive-minded guy, right? And that defense last year actually played pretty good as a defense, right?
Yeah.
What's great is the new molds that are going on in football, where the offensive guys are worried, and their head coach, like we have right now with the Rams, is they're worried about just the offense, right? And they get the guys like Phillips and say, you worry about the defense.
Right.
Where Fisher was a defensive-minded guy, which I think he did his job as, they were a pretty good defense, but he was still having his hands in the offense, where he's not an offensive-minded guy. Right. And what we're finding out now, the guys that are successful, is you worry about defense, I'll worry about offense, and you guys just go do your separate thing, right? And you get the guy that wants to possibly micromanage, and he's a defensive-minded guy, and he wants to get involved in the offense. It's not working out.
Yeah.
So, so again, on the defensive side, I think he did do a pretty good job, but that's what he's known to do, right? There's not a lot of, and maybe there is in New England, but there's not a lot of defensive-minded guys that are actually head coaches. And if you look at it in Belichick, right, he lets McDaniel do his thing. Like, you just go run your offense,
exactly.
right? And I'm going to worry about the defensive stuff, right? So...
For me, it's if I'm a president of a team, of an NFL team, and I call him in for an interview, one of the first questions is, you're a defensive-minded coach. How did Wade Phillips take your defensive team, change the defense from a 4-3 to a 3-4, and is looking like it might even be better than your team defensively?
That's right.
Explain that to me. And if you can explain that to me, maybe I'll think about putting you on the short list for a defensive coordinator job.
Right.
That's exactly where he belongs.
Yep.
Yeah, he claimed credit for during his 5-year run. Darnold came in, Ogletree, Brookers, Tremaine Johnson, DeMarcus Joyner, of course, Goff, Gurley, Haverstein.
I hope he's
Brown,
taking
Cooper,
responsibility for that Tavon Austin contract, that horrible Tavon, because Austin adds a lot of dimension to the offense, but there is no way he deserves the kind of money that they gave him.
Right.
And for me, that feels like that was all Jeff Fisher.
Yeah.
Like, he fought for him, and he forced that contract down management's throat, and he wanted it to happen.
Right.
And he's
no mention of
like
that,
number 4 or 5 as far as an offensive weapon.
Yeah.
For them now.
He's a decoy.
Yeah. He's a change of pace runner, right?
Exactly.
That's the way they use him is sort of like a change of pace running back.
Right.
Another tremendous game for Todd Gurley. I mean, this guy is
out of his mind, playing
first,
out of his mind.
First to reach 2,000 yards all-purpose. Leads the league in rushing touchdowns, total touchdowns. First guy since Herschel Walker in 1986 to rush for 100 yards and catch for 150 yards. And I just I don't know what you can say. I mean, words won't describe the type of season.
Well, I mean, he's got a coach that actually is perfect for him, right? And
exactly.
And the system is working, right? And the players believe in the system, right? And so what's great about it is you got a very good offensive-minded guy as your head coach that calls the plays, right? Mm-hmm. And has been able to use a guy to his best of all his abilities. And he's just as good as catching the ball out of the field that he is to running the ball, right? And it's just opens up the whole offense to where you can have the Cooper Kupps and the Watkins and the Woods going out and now the tight ends. And I mean, it's now where defenses are like, well, we can't focus on one guy here, right?
Exactly.
And then here's a guy, McVay, who's sort of known for targeting his tight ends, and they've been sort of flying under the radar,
Exactly.
and now he's got a whole other secret weapon come playoff time.
Mm-hmm.
It's been remarkable how they're just long handoffs, Gurley in the flat, Gurley on a check down, and then they just burned the Titans on 4 screen passes. A little tunnel screen, setting up these screen passes, the 80-yard touchdown pass reception. It was a 4-yard pass and 76-yard yard after catch.
But what's great about it is it screamed screen. Right, it screamed it, and they were still able to go 70 yards or 80 yards on it. I mean, that's what's great about it is if I am the Rams for next year is I'm constantly trying to build my offensive line, and just get it stronger and better. I mean, the more protection you give Goff, the more he has to be able to handle situations and become to build on his success and that's what's great. I mean, it was 3rd and 20 or something like that, and he throws a screen. It just screams draw or screen, right? And that was in the half, I think, right? Too.
Well, that last week against Seattle, it was the 3rd and 20 handoff. And Gurley ran for 60 plus yards for the touchdown, and here it's just a little short passes, but not. That's not all Goff's game. I mean, Goff laid one into Cooper Kupp that sealed the game. The game the touchdown that put them ahead. Cooper Kupp with the one knee down and the catch in the corner of the end zone. He was wide open and Goff threw. I mean, that was a big time pass and a big time catch for Cooper Kupp, who earlier had dropped the pass when they were moving the ball. And again, we've seen that happen with Cooper Kupp, where it's like you start thinking, oh God, it's that Eastern Washington. He didn't play enough big, he didn't play enough big time talent. But he had that ball in his hands, he dropped it, but he came back and he made that brilliant catch in the corner of the end zone. And he's just a rookie. I mean, and he's leading rookies in receptions and it's just unbelievable.
I think what the Rams need to be worried about right now is Zerline being out. I mean, that's you got a new kicker there, and when you're talking about playoffs, right, you're going to have to win games by 7-3 or whatever. And so I'm the pickup of, is it Ficken is he misses an extra point and then he hits the post on a field goal and
36 yards
and you know what I mean, that could win or lose you a game, when it comes to the playoffs, and that's where I think they have to be more worried about. And again,
because it changes play calling, and if you're thinking, oh God, we can't run on this play because we can't count on our kicker to kick a 48-yarder. We've got to pass on this play to either get the first down or get closer. It changes the play calling quite a bit. The Rams, it affected them in that Titans game. They should have killed that Titans team. That should have been.
Yeah, it shouldn't have been close.
It shouldn't have been close. And the missed extra point, the missed field goal, and then some of the changes on play calling when they're in that in between area,
3rd and 4s and 3rd and 8s and stuff.
And again, the turnover on the fake punt, where Hecker threw an interception at the goal line.
Yeah.
It's like that's one of those spots where they might have trotted Zerline out for a field goal there, but then they were trying to draw him off sides to give him a little more room. They declined the delay of game penalty, and then they still tried and it was just sort of weird. It just sort of seemed out of sorts, and those are the types of things where you just go, oh my God, Zerline's gone. Not for the rest of the year. And so we're going to have to go through the playoffs. And the other big injury is the Matt Longacre. Longacre is now out on the injured reserve and out for the season. Look, Connor Barwin and some of these other guys are going to step in. Right. That's he was finally in this 3-4. He was figuring it out. 5.5 sacks. He didn't have a sack last year or the year before. He was figuring it out. Wade Phillips.
Yeah,
and he was a big part of the project there, and the glue that was holding it together. So that's a bummer. And so if there's anything that you take away, it's like, God, you hope everybody stays healthy against San Francisco this week.
Right.
Who's actually playing pretty good football right now.
Playing great football.
Yeah. Jimmy G. Yeah, Jimmy G.
4 in a row.
Yeah. No.
I think San Francisco might finish second next year in the West.
You give them two or 3 years, and they could be contenders now.
Are there any kickers out there? Any field goal kickers?
Well, the Chargers you could probably go through the Chargers. They probably have 15 guys.
Yeah, they've got about 30-40 guys on auto dial.
Yeah.
In a group text.
Right.
Hey, anybody want to kick this week? LOL.
We're going to talk about the Chargers, but I think since we're on the Rams, we ought to continue on this Gurley versus Brady MVP award coming up. I mean, what Gurley has meant to that team. I mean, if you took Brady out of the Patriots, in fact, when he had his 4-game suspension, they still went 3-1. I mean, they're just they're a good team. I know Brady is extremely valuable, but I don't think he's made the difference that Gurley's made this year.
I don't think it's a contest, to be honest with you. I think what Gurley's done, and he still has another game left,
right?
To add to these numbers. But I mean, when you look at what Adrian Peterson did in 2012, these numbers are just almost parallel to him. Yeah. Adrian ran for a little bit more, but Gurley caught more out of the backfield. Touchdowns are, Gurley's caught more touchdowns than Adrian did, but. That was like the last time I think a running back had actually won the MVP, and those numbers are if it's not parallel, it's a little bit better for Gurley. So I think if you do not have Gurley on that team, I think you're maybe 500. You might be a 500 ball club.
Take away a lot of options.
I maybe because we're here in Southern California, I'm a little bit more pro Gurley, but I think it's. I don't know. I don't think it's a contest.
Yeah, I feel the same way. I don't even think should really be any discussion. I mean, Brady completes 67% of his passes this year, 4,300 yards, but still, I mean, Gurley has just changed. He's changed the game. He's changed it. Made the defenses change their schemes too. I mean, he can just do so much. Mm-hmm. You don't know. You don't know what he's going to do next.
No, and I get it. Brady is very consistent, and I think it's probably at least east of the Mississippi a good feel-good story. Here's this 40-year-old guy, who seems to be defying age.
Right.
Look, I get tired of hearing about Brady. I'm just an anti-Brady guy. It's great because I'm anti-New England, Boston, anything like that.
Exactly.
Don't talk to me about the Celtics. I don't care how many games in a row they won this year. Don't tell me about New England. I don't care how many Super Bowls they've won or how many he's taken them to. Just don't care. I don't like Brady. I don't like Belichick. I don't like any of them.
Yeah, exactly.
So, but the objective guy in me says, look, I get it. He's been very consistent. He continues to be consistent. It's an MVP quality season. But there is just no comparison to what, Brady makes them a game better than, here or there.
Right.
Gurley has been part of the reason why this team is going to turn the table
I think you can
possibly go 12-4 when last year they were
4-12. Yeah, and Gurley did nothing because they didn't let him do anything.
Yeah, I think the only rap against Gurley is probably that the yards per attempt, 4.7 yards is a little low for an MVP. However, the 64 catches for almost 800 yards receiving. 6 touchdowns, 18 touchdowns total. It's pretty darn good.
19, I thought.
13 and 6, right? 19 total, correct. He gets my vote, but
yeah, like I say, I don't even think there's any discussion. There will be, but
and it feels like after Goff in his second year, I had doubts about him last year, but he has found his feet under him. He could be an MVP at some point.
He should get some votes. Yeah, he should get some votes this year,
especially with an explosive offense. It sort of reminds me of those Drew Brees type, offenses. Mm-hmm. Scoring points and really just dominating the field.
Yeah, he's distributing the ball. I mean, he threw for 301 yards and 4 TDs and no interceptions. And, that's. I mean, like we've talked about, he keeps getting better and better as the games go on, and these are just going to help him for these playoff atmospheres, and that's what's great is what do we think he's about 500 or maybe just a game above 500 on playoff atmosphere type of games. So hopefully he can just keep learning from this and continue to succeed in the playoffs.
For me, it's absolutely amazing. So Gurley leads the team in receptions. Not unusual. It's kind of a very Marshall Faulk type of thing. Yeah. doesn't lead in yards, but it's Gurley with 64 receptions, the rookie Cooper Kupp with 62, Robert Woods with 56, and then Sammy Watkins, who's supposed to be, obviously he was hurt a little bit, but Watkins with 39. And then you've got the two-headed tight end monster of Higbee and Everett with 25 and 13. So that's like 39 receptions out of your tight ends, right? And over 500 yards out of them combined.
Pretty good distribution.
So 788 yards for Gurley, 869 yards for Kupp. He's the leader on the team in receiving yards. 781 for Woods and 593 for Watkins. And again, and down the line, 6 touchdowns for Gurley, 5 touchdowns for Kupp, 5 touchdowns for Robert Woods, and 8 touchdowns for Sammy Watkins.
Yeah.
And just 3 out of their tight ends. But amazing distribution.
Yeah.
And it like you said, any team that they play is just not going to know where they're going to where they're throwing the ball, where they're going to run it, where they're going to throw the ball.
Exactly.
And again, again, I don't want to harp on the Jeff Fisher, but hey, Jeff Fisher, Tavon Austin has about 270 yards from scrimmage this year. 246 rushing, and he's caught 10 passes for 33 yards.
Yeah.
That's your guy, your big guy who gave that big contract.
I don't think he's earning that money.
Yeah.
And he's not even returning kicks like he was when he was under Fisher. They've totally changed that. It's Pharaoh Cooper, who's been dynamic.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable. Yeah, unbelievable. One more thing before we leave the Rams. McVay at 31, youngest coach to win a division, make the playoffs. There's going to be a lot of openings out there. Do you think the trend is going to be towards coordinators, towards younger coaches, or are we going to recycle all the guys that get fired, the Jeff Fishers and those type of people? I mean, McVay's made a case for the younger.
Yeah.
He relates to the team. The chemistry is good. The room is good. And he's shown what young coordinators can do. Just give me a chance.
I think so. I would look at it that way, but then you're going to have to get the Jeff Fishers to throw their ego in their back pocket and say, yeah, I'd like you to be my coordinator. And now he's going to have to, answer to somebody that's 15 years younger than him. Mm-hmm. So that could be quite interesting how, these young coaches young coordinators become coaches, how they hire. Like a guy like Wade Phillips goes, yeah, I'm just a defensive guy. Just let me run my defense and that's fine. And that you can tell that's the way that, that's the way that McVay handles things. He's like, you go do your thing, I'll do my thing. And you know what? If I see something that's drastic in a change or whatever, I might talk to you about it, but it doesn't sound like he micromanages them, and that's where, some of these, and again, now McDaniels might be probably going to one of these teams, but I think there's going to be a lot of coaching jobs open.
Oh, yeah.
And it wouldn't surprise me if these guys are going towards these younger coordinators.
Yeah,
so.
And Patricia from New England, another young coordinator who, for me, I think if you pigeonhole it and say we need the young, energetic coach, it's probably the wrong thing. The thing when you look at Sean McVay, unless you start digging down in the layers of that was sort of a perfect storm of like, it doesn't matter what his age is because he's sort of an old soul. He's got the legacy, his dad and his grandfather. He's been in the game for so long that it's more like dog years. I mean, he's more like a 50-year-old guy, the kind of experience, kind of experience and background that he's had in NFL football because of where he's come from and his legacy. So for me, it was kind of a perfect storm. I don't think that an NFL team can just say, hey, you're a young coordinator who has shown some flashes of brilliance and let's bring it in. McVay was one of those guys that he hit on a lot of different things that a lot of 50-year-old coaches wouldn't have. And it's been great. He's been a perfect fit for young general manager and a young front office staff at LA for a team that just really had nothing to lose by getting rid of the old guard and bringing in the new guard. And I think they need to be careful. For instance, I don't think the Cleveland Browns they'd get it wrong. If the Cleveland Browns or the Cincinnati Bengals just decided to get rid of their guys and
I think
Hugh
Jackson's going to stay there, but
What's that?
I think Hugh Jackson will stay there. But, I mean, that's the other thing is, like, all they talk about every year is getting a new quarterback. Why don't you just get a bunch of offensive linemen? to support your quarterback.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
I mean, this guy's running for his life back there. So go spend money on offensive linemen.
I don't. You're right. I didn't think Deshaun Kaiser was the answer, but he clearly wasn't the answer in his rookie season.
Right.
Just like Jared Goff probably wasn't the answer in his first season. But Kaiser's a good choice and probably one of the best prospects that they've had if they just could keep him on his feet and allow him to stay in the pocket a little longer.
Yeah.
So, for me, I think there should be a trend to younger, more vibrant, energetic, coordinator types coming into the head coaching in the NFL. It's going to make things more exciting. The Rams McVay and the Rams have made the NFL more exciting. But I don't think it's just as clear as that one layer of somebody young and energetic. It has to be somebody who knows the game, who's been around it. McVay fits all of those things. And if somebody can find another McVay type of guy, young, coordinator experience with the legacy in NFL football, they should go for it.
Got to go for it. All right, let's take a look at the Chargers. Still a shot. I think you mentioned that they should expect a tough ball game in New York, and they did.
Yeah.
But 8-3 since that start, and they've really come to life. It's still going to be tough making the playoffs.
Yeah, it was an ugly win. It was an ugly football game from start to finish on both sides. But a W is a W, and we'll take it any way you can get it. We lost Henry's out now he's on IR with a spleen issue. But it was great to see the whole
and
Rivers
Gordon.
Rivers to Gates again, and then Gates stepped up and had a great game. Melvin Gordon, I think, will be okay to go in Oakland.
Yeah, okay to go.
Yeah,
but
I don't know if that's 100% or not.
But I don't know that that's enough.
And then and that's probably going to be a home game for the Raiders in Los Angeles. But is it or we're rooting for, I think, Jacksonville, right, to beat the Titans, right? Is that the
They've
main?
got the whole scenario here. It's going to be Jags got to beat the Titans. First things first, they got to beat the Raiders.
Right, true.
To do that, the Jags got to beat the Titans. Dolphins would be nice if the Dolphins could beat the Bills. But
I thought if the Titans lose and the Chargers win, I thought they were in.
I think a few more things have to happen. I'm not
because
sure.
because they beat the Bills.
They
would have
had the tiebreaker.
that over. They'd have the tiebreaker over
the
the Bills.
Chargers would. Yeah, that's what I thought. So I mean, that's scary because Jacksonville went up to San Francisco with we've talked about it. Jacksonville's got a very aggressive defense. They're really good, but how you give up 30 to San Francisco, so in Tennessee, I mean, this is going to be, it's kind of hard that you're going to lose 5 in a row, right? Tennessee's lost 4 in a row, and then now this coach is on the block too to lose his job. So I think it's gonna be a good game, but all we can do is hope. And but like you said, John, it's been a great recovery. It's good to just know that we have a possible chance to get in the playoffs.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
So I wouldn't be too worried. It just depends on who Jacksonville is sitting, because Tennessee, Mariota, it looked terrible against the Rams. He wasn't 100% healthy. He wasn't able to scramble. He had some success in a hurry up offense, but he made some throws that he made a terrible interception throw early in the game. Made some throws that were nowhere near his receivers. He looked terrible. Mm-hmm. So the Chargers should be encouraged, but they got to take care of business in their own home. They got to clean their own house.
Yeah.
If Gordon can go, because that's not a very deep. They lost their other running back earlier. What's his name? Eckenglar. I can't remember his name. But anyway, they lost him earlier, and if Gordon can't go, that's going deep.
Yeah.
I think the line is like Chargers favored by 7 or 6.5 or 7.
Well, I don't know what that was a pretty big fight they put up against Philadelphia. So, and they went all the way across the country to do that, and I don't know who's coming out of that healthy or not. So maybe there's some injuries that we don't know about from Oakland, but that was a tough fought game there from Oakland in Philadelphia. So I don't know.
Well, how good could Carr be? How healthy could he be? Marshawn Lynch has not.
That was a terrible.
It's just not. Things just look bad. It just looks like things have completely unraveled for Oakland. And again, I say that, and again, they could come up with their best game of the year against the Chargers.
Yeah.
Right.
They usually try to find it.
It could happen, but I think the Chargers take care of business. I think the Titans, as long as Jacksonville is trying even just a little bit, beats them, and there's a path. There's a path for the Chargers.
Yeah, there is. Do you guys want to take a look at the possible playoff matchups, or you want to wait till next week?
Why don't we wait till next week on that?
Yeah, wait till it's over.
Yeah.
Well, we had the Citrus Bowl last night.
Cactus.
And
Cactus
Bowl.
Cactus
I was
Bowl,
saying Citrus.
Yeah.
I watched the first half and saw the start of the second half. And like I say, does Chip Kelly have a opt-out in his contract?
Yeah.
Defense was just awful in the second half. What did they give him up? 28 points.
Yeah, they got beat 28-0 in the second half.
Yeah.
They gave
atrocious.
up more than 300 yards in rushing. Again,
Surprise.
Again, I'm shocked. Right? Is anybody shocked? And I sent out a text and to John and some buddies last night, and it said, after that game was over, it was like Jim Morris should be fired again for a team that he has sent. What a pile of crap! There is just such a lack of talent, and it looked like last night a lack of discipline. Obviously, there's no Jed Fish. I don't think they respect that poor sap.
Yeah.
Everybody's getting cleared out. It didn't look like Chip Kelly was having a very good time. Every time
I don't think so,
they
no.
flashed on him, the over/under of how many times they're going to flash to him in the AD's box with Dan Guerrero's boxes was like 20, and I think they exceeded that. Just in the first half, and then some of the looks on his face.
Little
Boy,
puzzle.
if I'm Chip Kelly, I don't think Modster's my guy. Or if he is the guy, then they're going to struggle next year. It's going to be a 4 or 5 win type of season. The talent's just not there. And I've said this over and over and over again. And when Corey was sitting there and saying that, this Chip Kelly, they're going to win 10 games, we've had that sort of discussion going back on the emails. It's like, you're delusional. You're delusional.
Right.
No five-star recruits yet for the Bruins. Number 27th overall in recruiting. And again, those rankings are tough.
Yeah, I've got a couple different.
They're graduating some guys that are critical guys. Some guys are coming out early who are critical. The only thing that UCLA could hope for is that Josh Rosen says, I don't want to play for the Browns. I'm not going out.
Yeah.
I'm not hiring an agent, but I'm sticking around for another year.
Did you think that it was 100% that he didn't want to play?
He was done.
I don't think he wanted to play, right?
No, well,
I know
his agent didn't want him to play.
Protocol,
That's
but
bull.
I don't think he wanted to play. I think he said, hey, can we use this as an angle, to be honest with you?
Yeah,
I think he's soft. I think he's soft. But you know what, Vince? In the first half, Monster looked like he could
He had a couple nice throws.
He looked like he could handle, a Chip Kelly offense, right? But again, it's this, you got to play defense, right? And so I actually,
Why?
I'm a wait and see guy. I think he could fit in that offense. I think it's only going to be for 1 year till Chip gets his guy in there, unless he gets some big transfer to come in that fits right to his offense. But I think he's going to have to deal with Monster.
They've got that one kid from Vegas.
Yeah, exactly.
From Bishop Gorman, who's coming in.
So, but again, it's what's crazy about it is I'm sitting there watching this game and they're up 17-7 at halftime, and I go, you're going against a very well coached team, right? And
Bill Schneider,
they have the kid in there, the freshman, and he doesn't handle his deal, but they bring in the kid that's been there for forever to kind of take care of his. There
was the Thompson and then Melton.
Dalton come in to take over Thompson's,
Dalton,
right? And then goes for like 65 or 70 on a quarterback sneak or something like that. Right?
A little zone
right
read.
up the middle, and so then I started looking at the second half, and I go, if they can run the ball, discipline-wise, K-State, they're going to eat clock like no other and just take this game, and that's exactly what they did. I wasn't too impressed to where I'm going to say, oh yeah, UCLA is going to win this by 20. I thought for sure it might come down to a field goal or something like that because they've scored a couple points on them. But when in the middle of the third quarter or early in the fourth quarter, and Monster only had 52 yards, throwing the ball, I'm like, this thing is done. It was over with, and
overdone.
Yeah, so
they got out coached for that too.
No doubt, and you could see the difference.
Snyder made some adjustments at halftime.
Exactly, and that guy's is as experienced as it gets. He runs a great program there. So,
while we're on UCLA and USC, I think Vince ran off a couple of where they rank nationally as far as commits. Yeah, there's a lot of different polls, a lot of different analysis out there. I like the idea of JT Daniels.
So he came out early, huh?
Yeah.
Skipping his senior year.
Yeah, he's got the graduation credit, so he's graduating. And
he'll be there, in the fall? In January? I don't think till the fall. He'll be there in September.
No, he'll enroll in January, and right, and he'll just go to school,
right,
and then he'll
probably be spring football,
but I'm assuming they're going to put him as the scout quarterback, unless he's just blowing everybody's doors off. But what do you do if you're Jack Sear?
Sears is still second on the depth chart behind Fink, so.
Right.
I don't know what Jack Sears does. I don't know if JT Daniels jumps him. JT Daniels is still a young man. Mm-hmm. It's not like a Sam Darnold, where Sam Darnold was already a big body and he decided to graduate early and come in. I mean, JT Daniels is passing up a whole year to me, that's a development issue. He's still young, and he still needs to put on some pounds.
So is that something that was a decision by himself, or did Helton come to him and say, hey, would this be a possibility? That maybe they're not happy with what they have?
I don't know, John.
Sure
I think there's always going to be a lot of speculation that, he must know something. Darnold's leaving.
Right. I'm assuming that I'm making these comments due to the fact that I think Darnold is going.
Yeah. Well, he made the quote. He had a quote too that it doesn't.
I'll play for anybody.
Doesn't make any difference if he stays. I'll have a great guy.
There's too many teams that need a quarterback. It's stupid for him not to go.
But
right.
I think he expects Darnold to be gone.
Yeah.
But I think there's just too much to read into it. JT Daniels will not be the starting quarterback for the Trojans next year.
No doubt. I understand that.
And he's just too young, and but it's encouraging. I mean, Trojan fans, look at that kid. He's thrown, 15 interceptions in 3 seasons.
Yeah.
And just, with a gajillion touchdowns, 150 touchdowns?
152 touchdowns, 14 interceptions, 12,014 yards.
Yeah, his accuracy is ridiculous. He's more athletic than you think.
Mm-hmm.
More athletic, but he is a pocket passer.
Mm-hmm.
And
But of course he is. Look who he's playing behind.
He's
playing against a D. He's got a D1 line.
Yeah, the whole line's D1, and one
he
kid
can have a cup of coffee, a biscuit, the whole nine, and throw.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
So, very interesting, and Darnold's going to play, and he's not bowing out like Rosen. That bull crap concussion protocol.
Yeah.
And we'll see. Darnold, hopefully his stock rises, but not high enough to go to the Browns.
Yeah, well, I have a feeling
the Browns should not be picking another quarterback.
No, I think they should.
I'm with you
I think
on that.
these guys need to say, "Hey, we'll trade you offensive linemen to move up." So the Giants would move up. The Jets
give me 3 picks.
Even the Chargers. The Chargers need a quarterback, right? Because
exactly.
Phillips, on his last leg is. He's got one foot in the grave and the other's on a banana peel. So, it's just a matter of time before he goes, right? But there's going to be 6 or 7 teams that need a quarterback next year.
Exactly.
Right.
So you're stupid if you don't go.
And if the Browns get rid of their whole front office in time to prep and strategize, and if they are not asking too much for that pick, they need to just get rid of it and build up. Don't ask for 6 or 7 picks. Ask for 3 or, and maybe a player. And just build up because you need more than a quarterback. I don't mind Deshaun Kaiser.
Do what San Francisco did. They did the same thing. They're just like, no, we'll go down, go down 1 or 2 spots, and you give us this, these
and
picks.
John Lynch did a good job, and it looked like, God, they were just a quarterback away. And then when they got Garoppolo for a song, it seems like. I mean, that's a guy that they could flip right now. It's like flipping a house. They could flip that guy for a first rounder now.
Yeah. Why do you want to draft another quarterback who's going to spend the season on his
back?
Yeah,
exactly. No,
that's ridiculous.
How about you get the guys to protect him so he doesn't? It's like you said. I didn't think Kaiser's that bad. I think if you give him time, I think he's mobile enough. I think he makes pretty good decisions. You just got to build up around him. Crowell is. You need a better running game, and but you need an offensive line. And Joe Thomas going out early hurt them. Right. He'd been there forever. What is he? He's blocked for 14 different quarterbacks. I mean, it's crazy.
That's nuts.
That's crazy.
That's nuts. 3 or 4 of them in a game.
Right. Exactly.
Jeez.
So.
Okay, let's switch gears to basketball here. UCLA had a nice win in New Orleans against number 7 Kentucky. I listened to part of that game. They have turned it around, playing pretty well now that they've really are strangled on the bench though with those two buddies out for the season. Their depth. Are those scholarships? Do those kids stick around or what?
I think I guess the question is, are they losing a year of eligibility?
I don't think so because they never played.
Right.
But however, if they tried to transfer, they'd have to sit out a year.
Yeah,
I'm almost certain about that. So that's a tough situation because like you said, it limits their bench.
Right.
But that's always been Alford's thing. He doesn't go deep, and it just frustrates the hell.
Well,
out
he's
of
on the 8-man rotation, right? But I mean, what I read into is it hurts them a little bit in their depth on defense. I guess that's where the kids would have helped the bench a little bit on their depth and defense. But you're right, Vince. He's always had a thin.
That's always been his thing. So UCLA is going to be right there. They got enough talent. There's a good level of talent there for them to do well. But the Pac-12 is, they're ASU better than anybody thought.
Yeah.
And, Bobby Hurley doing a great
job. What are they,
job
number
there.
2 in the country?
I don't know.
Still undefeated.
They're still undefeated.
Yeah. And then there's Arizona who started out, preseason ranked at the top, and they could still turn things around.
They'll be there.
UCLA is going to be good. USC was higher ranked than maybe they should have been. The D'Anthony Melton thing really caused some. They had some injuries to Benny Boatwright, and they played poorly in a couple of games because they're just not big. They're not great against big teams that can rebound.
Right, that's their losses. Their losses are against
they get
tournament teams.
Or teams that play big like Texas A&M and SMU. So. But they went in and they won the Diamond Head Classic, and really got battle tested in a couple of games. Went to overtime in a game and won on a last second shot from Benny Boatwright.
But that's the whole thing. And if you look at the stats, and Boatwright's a big key to that offense. If
they can win without him.
But I don't think they can win the big games without him.
Right.
They can win against Santa Clara and they can win against
Santa Barbara.
These kind of teams. But when you're
on the road in the Pac-12, you need Benny Boatwright.
Right, exactly.
10 for 16 shooting, including 6 threes, turning MVP.
Because you have a great point guard there. You do. You have a good point guard. Yeah.
Jordan McLaughlin. Absolutely.
Right. Yeah.
And a lot of guys, who are so athletic. And in Chimezi Metu, he's going to be a pro.
He's a beast.
Leave early. He's terrific. And Rakocevic is developing his game as a big man. And when Enfield decided, look, we were getting too banged on the boards, we need to start a bigger squad. Rakocevic was the guy they went to. Shaquan Aaron and Elijah Stewart, terrific players. And then some of the younger guys, once they get Thornton back, that'll help so that McLaughlin's not playing 40 minutes a game at the point guard, the Duke transfer. But you look down that line. There's a Louisville transfer, a Duke transfer. This is the kind of team that we want. And as long as we keep building up, we might live up to that top 10 preseason.
They're the team they're the team that reminds me going into the tournament if they like win the Pac-12 championship, right? It's like it's a team you don't want to play. Like it's that team that's like maybe they're mediocre because you're right. I mean, it's almost like Pac-12 football. Like the Pac-12 in basketball is going to be a bunch of teams beating a bunch of teams. Like they're all it's not like one team is like, ASU probably is right now of the elite, right? Where used to be Arizona, it was the elite, right? But now it's just like at any given time, if your team's off, you're going to get beat in the Pac-12. But then who's hot coming out of the Pac-12 going into that tournament is the team. And USC has the potential to be one of those teams that you don't want to play. You don't want to get them in a first round or second round or maybe, it's the second round, like an 8-9 that has to play a 1 or something like that. And you don't, because what we're finding out is they can play both. They can run with you, they can play big, and so who's healthy at that time. But USC is a dangerous team that if they're playing good basketball, they can beat anybody.
And they can really disturb teams with that zone defense. Yeah. They're so long on defense, and they play so well. And with Chimezie Metu, and Benny Boatwright, who are so tall and can extend,
but their length is gigantic,
gigantic, and it's the reason that they can just stop teams dead in their tracks. Teams, and it's why they've been able to come back from an 18-point deficit or 10-point deficit or when they fall behind, is because that zone can be just such a stymie against.
See, and that's and then you go back to UCLA, right? They're up to what were they up to 78-54 against South Dakota. Right, and they win that game by hitting free throws at the very end of the game. Then they go play Kentucky and win. Like it's, like there's some selfishness there with the UCLA that he's trying to calm them down, and that's the other thing. With these Pac-12 teams like USC and UCLA, it's like when they play, they listen to their coach and they don't play inconsistent basketball. They're very competitive, but if I can see some selfishness out of both teams where they get themselves in trouble.
Yeah. Aaron Holiday was really steady down the stretch in those final minutes at 83-75 when he had 20 points, but he really hit a key shot, I think, with less than a minute to go. And I think SC and UCLA are both going to be in the conversation when you talk about the Pac-10, Pac-10 championship.
Yeah, and we've got Pac-12 conference
starting Friday.
Starts Friday,
That's right.
Washington State for.
That's right. The Washington schools are in town. So
yeah.
Okay. The hockey, the Kings, still impressive.
Not much. 48 points at the break, at the holiday break. We'll take it.
That's pretty impressive.
Yeah, we'll take it.
Tied with your Golden Knights.
Golden Knights, yeah, they're hanging around.
Here's a situation where they would be looking at dumping guys, right?
Oh yeah,
trades. Yeah. Now they're like, now we got to look at picking up guys to strengthen our team, because you don't want to really kind of pull that mold apart because they're all playing, they're all gelling together. I mean, it's really good hockey they're playing. Yeah, so I guess where can you find somebody to fill that, maybe that little bit of a void that you have? But here's a team that's thinking at this time right now, we'll start trading some of our guys away to better our program. And now they're like, holy cow, I think we need to find some guys to better our, to get into that playoff. Because the way they're playing, they could be, number 2 or number 3 in the West.
I don't think they ever believed they would be in this position this late in the season.
No, I don't think so. And I think generally speaking, when you think, an expansion team coming in, but I think when you looked at it, we talked about this quite a bit. When we saw the rules of that expansion draft, it was like, this team can be pretty good. Yeah, the fact that there was not only a ceiling but a floor. That they couldn't just take a bunch of guys with small contracts or rookies who had, they would pay nothing to. There was a lot of rules in place that pretty much said this team is going to be at least competitive. Not that they would be where the Golden Knights are right now, but at least competitive. Right. And we were all looking at that going, there's some good, they're going to get some good guys. Yeah. They're going to,
and that just tells you how good of a coach he is, because you got all those kids believing, right? They're all molded and they're gelling together. They're playing good hockey.
And they've got a lot of veterans and a lot of mid-level veterans who were coming in, and it just turned out that the way that the NHL made the rules for that it guaranteed that team was going to be pretty good.
Well, that's the way they should do it.
Yeah,
That-
and it's I think it sets the table for whether if Seattle gets a team,
Right.
I think they're bidding for a team, and any other cities that are bidding for a team, that's encouraging, because that kind of draft really very competitive.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, they made it that way, and I'm glad they did because, like you say, you don't want to go into the season knowing you're just going through the motions.
Well, yeah, I mean, you're thinking, we play the Golden Knights tomorrow, and there's our tap-in birdie for a W, right?
Yeah.
And you're not getting that. Like the West is stronger than it's ever been. I mean, with now, with the Kings playing the hockey that they're playing, I mean, the Blackhawks are down just a little bit, but the Blues are playing. So it's a good West. I mean, I don't know if I'm right by saying this. I think the West is much stronger than the East because the Penguins are down.
They're down almost
right?
no cellar.
So I don't know. I think it's
Red Wings are
good.
down?
Yeah, it's good hockey on the West Coast right now, or on the Western Division.
Yep.
So.
Yeah, what was I going to say? I lost my train of thought there. Yeah, but I think the Knights are in town against the Ducks tonight.
They are.
Tomorrow
Yeah,
night.
yeah. So I mean, it's a battle for first place in the Pacific, right? With the Kings.
That'll be tomorrow night. Yeah.
The Ducks' issue right now is they're losing too many close games. I mean,
they've got 8 overtime losses,
Yeah.
and that's more than anybody in the league.
Right? Yeah,
And that's 8 points.
But those are games you need to win.
Exactly.
And again, they're right there, right around the last spot in the playoff. So, I'm really looking to see how they come out of the the All-Star break and see how they start to take care, get more healthier and stuff like that. But, you're right, John, you can't lose these close games, especially when you're up 2-1 going into games, you lose 4-3,
They lost a lot of games where they went into the third period with a lead too.
Right, yeah.
The team had to tie before they could get to overtime. But I think they're 8 points behind the Kings. And if even if you'd split those 8 losses, you're only 4 games back.
All right.
So, you got to win. Those are games they got to win.
Exactly.
But, still, I think Kessler is close.
Yeah.
But, like I think we said last week, you don't hear anything about Eves.
No, you're right.
And he's a key ingredient.
He's great in front of the net.
Right in front of the net.
Yeah.
He causes congestion and havoc.
Yeah.
And he's a good scorer. But you don't hear anything about him.
Yeah, but the third, like you said, the third period is the key. It's the reason where the Kings are where they are and why the Ducks are where they are. We talked about this last week. Plus 23 at the time. Third period, the Kings were plus 23 in goals against their opponents, and that's 10 goals better than the next best team, Tampa Bay. It's ridiculous, and so the Ducks obviously taking leads into the third, not holding them, and you can't do that. You can't do that. So that's the difference. That's the difference. It's third period play in the LA area hockey.
The Lakers.
I don't know which Laker team do we want to talk about?
Yeah, which team is going to show up?
The Jekyll or the Hyde? Kuzma's great.
What a pickup!
What a find!
Pickup. Yeah, and now everybody's like looking at their GMs like, how do you? But again, let's be frank. I mean, Kuzma shot 30% from 3 when he was at Utah.
Yeah.
He had 90 games, right?
Right.
Played in 90 games. Not a huge chunk but he was not a good 3-point shooter. But the Lakers knew that towards the second half of that season in the Pac-12. He was shooting 50% from 3. They knew he had been working on that in the offseason, and they said, this guy can shoot the 3. Mm-hmm. And everybody else was getting reports from coaches, and the coach was saying, hey, it's a 30% 3-point shooter. You don't want that guy. Can't shoot free throws. 67% from free throw, and 30% 3-point shooter. And he has built his body, really started to nail down. I mean, obviously doing some things, and he was sort of an in-between guy. So everybody was just passing on until he got to 27th in the 27th pick.
Yeah.
And a lot of them because of the size. They didn't know, was he going to guard forwards? Was he going to guard guards? He can guard them both. and he can extend the defense. In his last 4 games, his last 5 games, 27.8 points per game, 52% 2-point field goal percentage, 56 from 3.
Yeah.
8 rebounds a game, 3 assists per game, 1 steal a game. And we're talking, he played 40 minutes against the Warriors, 40 minutes against the Rockets, 43 minutes in that overtime game against the Warriors, 35 minutes on a back-to-back, so on the second day of a back-to-back, 35 minutes against the Blazers, and then 41 minutes against the Wolves.
Leads the team in minutes. I think,
and he shot 10 of 6, 12 of 17, 9 of 15, 6 of 19, 8 of 18. Ridiculous. And then again, from the 3-point line, 4 of 6, 7 of 10 in that remarkable game against the Rockets when he poured in 38. 3 of 6, and then the back-to-back night, he was just 2 of 6, but then he came back at 6 for 11 from 3 against the Timberwolves.
Yeah, he's been a brilliant find. He really has. He's been a great.
But that style of basketball, is that going to hurt? Is that going to hurt? They just go so hard. We already got a couple guys sitting out, balls sitting out, and so is it almost too hard on their bodies? I know they're all young, right? But I don't know. It's just so inconsistent. I mean, you see them just battling against, Golden State. They lose in overtime. Then they go win in Houston, right?
Yeah,
and then they come back and they get beat again. But, it's just... you got to be able to win against the West, and that's where they're struggling.
Yeah, it's not happening. Ball is soft.
Yeah.
And, the shoulder sprain.
I think the second half is going to have a lot to say about how these kids, they're not used to playing 81, 82 games. I mean, what's your college schedule? About half that.
Yeah.
And it's not as like, game after game after game after game.
Yeah, I'm just going to see if they wear out. After the All-Star break.
Like you said, I mean,
they're going hard. They go hard.
Yeah.
Lonzo Ball has already played almost as many NBA games as he did college games.
Yeah. Right.
So, he's going to wear down because he's, a pencil neck. And that's fine. We got to get KCP out of jail. I mean, I've been wondering.
Isn't that about over?
No, he's still, he's in detention center in Seal Beach. I'm wondering if Luol Deng is his cellmate, because I haven't seen Luol Deng since the first game of the season. I mean, my God.
I don't want to see him.
No, but and Julius Randle, where does he fit? And now it looks like, can they trade Luol Deng? Are they going to trade Jordan Clarkson, another big money guy? Well, I like Jordan Clarkson, and then, KCP's on the 1-year contract. Luol Deng, oh boy, what are they going to do? And then Julius Randle and Bogut. Ugh.
Yeah.
Bogey.
Well, they brought Bogey in there in case Lopez got hurt, and so here's
that was just the thing.
What is the update on Lopez? Because that was a pretty bad ankle sprain. Is he out?
A few weeks.
A few more weeks.
Yeah, at least 2, I'm guessing, but pretty bad. And then they don't know with Ball. There's no timeline on Ball, and then I don't think there should be. He's been shooting better, so it came at a bad time for that. But he needs to just rest that tiny little body of his.
Yeah, he needs to put a little beef on him.
Yeah.
Clippers?
Well, Blake's, I guess, ahead of schedule.
That's
I guess.
good.
He might come back against the Lakers Friday.
Yeah. So he's a little bit ahead of schedule, and they're inconsistent too. But boy, they were just pulling last night. Just past half court, they were just chucking it up and making it. They went on a big run against who was it, against Memphis? Were they against Memphis last night? But they were pulling. They were up by 20 something at one point because they were just pulling 5 feet from the 3-point line, or they were just putting it up, and they were making everything, and they were able to run a little bit. And but again, when Austin Rivers is your, you don't have it's. Yeah,
they certainly miss.
They miss Paul. You can tell.
Paul too.
Yeah.
So,
but again, injuries. Gallinari.
That's key.
Milos.
Key name.
That's critical. But the Beverly injury changed just the complexion of that. And Austin Rivers has been serviceable. He's been doing a good job.
Again, if that's your one of your key guys, and like he said, he's doing a good job, but he's not the answer. You know what I mean? So
And Sweet Lou's been scoring.
yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I don't know where they'd be.
Sweet
without
Lou
Sweet
has to score, to be in contention there.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
And now there's talk about moving DeAndre.
No, yeah, exactly. I just started hearing that. Yeah, that he would be on the try to get somebody to better their team. Yeah, DeAndre would be the guy.
Yeah. What have you heard? Like the Cavs, I think I heard, or the Celtics, or something. I can't remember who the.
Yeah, I just said that. I just heard that he's on the block. He's out there for discussion.
Well, the
But
Celtics
they're going to want a lot of.
Celtics would make sense because Hayward went down the first game of the season. So
And he's still a long way
yeah,
off.
I think he's gone for the year. Yeah.
But they haven't missed it. They haven't
No,
missed it. The way
I'm curious.
They're
I'm curious
not
to
playing
see,
as well now.
Curious
but
to see how Cleveland comes back with Isaiah Thomas. I'm really curious to see how that works into that whole system.
Yeah, that would
Yeah.
be interesting.
Yeah, I think if he can really come out and really make that a really fun team to watch out for them because they can hang with anybody.
Yeah.
So
Well, I'm really surprised by what Boston has done this year. When Hayward went down, I thought,
yeah,
that's
I did too.
That's the end of their
I did
season.
too.
but I think Isaiah Thomas is makes that team so much better that I think they would beat Boston in a playoff. But again, if Isaiah is the old Isaiah, right? We'll see how he comes out of the hip and stuff
we'll
like
see
that.
how healthy and
Yeah.
how strong he is.
Because I'll tell you right now, he's bitter. He's bitter with Danny Ainge. So
I am not surprised.
yeah.
Hot Stove League, pretty quiet right now. I think you said last week you don't really expect the Dodgers to do anything.
No,
major.
I
no reason to.
Like I wrote about, I don't think they are. They freed up some space, obviously, and Kohler, who they had picked up, they've signed him to a contract, so now he's on the 40-man roster. I think they've got one or two other spots that they need to fill. I don't know how they're going to fill it, but again, they don't want to go over. They've got a little room, but it's not going to be a big.
Yeah.
It's not going to be a big deal, and I don't envision them trading anybody whose contract is big enough to where that it would make any kind of a splash. I think it's par for the course for the Dodgers to kind of plug away, maybe get in a middle reliever or that sort of guy.
Right.
But I think they've got some options now, and we'll see. Does Maeda spend some time in the bullpen? Does Ryu spend some time in the bullpen? I mean, clearly there was some promising looks from them during the postseason. So we'll see.
Like you said, it's a team that won 104 regular season games. I mean, doesn't need much.
No,
minor
I don't think the Angels are done too. They're keep spending
I hope
money.
not.
Yeah, I don't think they're done
I've
either.
got a story that should have been on this website. It's I got to get on my son about moving a little bit faster. But
can you give us a hint?
yeah, no, but I just I didn't like the. I disagree with Vinny on this. I didn't like the Cozart signing at all.
Yeah.
Here you're asking a guy.
But the only reason I'm okay with that is because are they going after a big time first baseman? That's what I'm wondering. You can't have both, right?
Right.
So if Moustakas was too high, and he went with this kid, and look at Escobar wasn't a big power hitter, right? So if this guy can field the spot better than that, right?
Yeah.
And he can hit okay, but now is it open up for us to go get maybe the Kansas City first baseman that's available, or Hosmer, or somebody like that. So that's what I'm saying. I don't think they're done yet. I think they're now going to try to find a first baseman.
I don't think they are either.
To fill that power hitting position.
What happens if they bring in a first baseman and you use Pujols as your DH? How are you going to DH Ohtani?
You're just going to use him as pinch hitting, or you'll DH him when you want to put. You want to sit Pujols or sit one of the other guys.
I listen to San Diego sports talk a lot, and they're really ramping up Hosmer. They really think that he's going to going to sign with San Diego. But I don't know that. To me, that team doesn't really have the future that I would be looking for if I'm.
No, he wants to go to a contender.
I wouldn't think so.
Yeah.
I mean, it's possible that they pull it off, and the Padres organization convinces him that they're headed that way. But I see no indications that team is doing anything but rebuilding.
Yeah.
And my God, I mean, Will Myers. Ugh. I mean,
is that your franchise? The face of the franchise?
That's the face of your franchise. that is the face of their franchise.
I mean, that's
that's
where Major League Baseball has got to look at the Padres and go, are you going to start doing something here? Or are you just going to you're okay with, being in the cellar every single year and not really caring?
And did they trade Headley? And they picked up Headley.
They picked up Headley again.
Yeah, they traded
did they
away.
Trade him?
It was a trade. Yeah, they gave somebody to the Yankees, and
they got him back from the Yankees.
Yeah.
They traded him to the Yankees. Now they traded him back.
Okay. Yeah, I knew they had traded him to the Yankees. I knew that they got him back from the Yankees.
They got two.
But then I heard that they were trying to move Headley to somebody else.
No.
Well, I think there was talk that he might go to the Angels when they were looking for a third baseman.
Oh, God, he's terrible.
But
Kozart's better.
Yeah. And the only problem I have with that is that, you bring him in as a utility guy to back up Simmons and back up Kinsler, and he hasn't played either position.
Yeah.
He's never played shortstop, never played second base.
Kozart?
Yeah.
But he's going to play third.
Kozart's played short.
Oh, he's played short?
Oh, yeah.
He's played short, yeah. I don't think he's played second.
No, that's right. He's a career shortstop.
Yeah, he's
never played third or second.
Correct, yeah.
So,
and we're also banking on Kinsler hitting like he hits in Anaheim against us.
Yeah, he killed it. I hated him when he was with the Rangers. He killed us.
It was a stat day when he showed up against us.
Well, I think that'll do it. I hope everybody had a good Christmas. We want to wish all our listeners a Happy New Year. And then, again, invite them to be a part of the show. Click on the link. Go in, send us an email, voicemail rather, and we'll get back to you. I think that's it. We'll have a lot of bowl action to talk about next week. And until then, I think we are out.
Happy New Year.
Peace.